Welcome back out to Patman Garage. If you haven't seen, I am in the midst of doing a rehab project on a 2002 Blackwood. So it got the cab mostly sealed up. I still think I'm going to probably end up doing the windshield at some point, but for now we got it mostly sealed up. The next project we're going to jump into is the wiring on the truck, so we'll explain a little bit more once we jump into that here, but let's go take a look at it. So we have our lovely junkyard battery. We have our lovely broken battery terminals. This will need to come out to access the wiring issues back here. So the guy I bought the truck from did some repairs back in here. Looks like there was some sort of rodent party from the truck sitting for so long. So we will pull the battery and get into here and take a look at what's going on in here. But basically we have two different transmission codes, and there's a possibility that the wiring repair was done incorrectly. So we're going to start here where we know we have an issue, and we'll work our way through the system from there. For starters here, the battery already has the hold down removed. Don't have a bolt for that, so I'll have to find one at some point. So we'll go ahead and pop the battery charger off of here and pull the battery out. We can drag the battery charger in here into the garage. That way when we pull the battery out, we can throw it back on the charger. Alright, we got the charger set back up, 2-amp charger. We'll let that run while we're out working on the truck. Alright, so next thing we need to do is remove the battery tray out of here, and we've got 13s in the top corners and 13s on the bottom down here. And then the vacuum reservoir is going to stay with the truck, so it just pops up like that, comes out. So we'll pull the tray out and take a look and see what kind of wiring issues we got back in here. Alright, so I got my 13 millimeters removed. I just grabbed my little Makita impact, and the battery tray wiggles itself out of here. So we'll set that off to the side, and then we'll work on figuring out the wiring side of that next. So we can toss it in the bed for now with all the other goodies that are in process here. Got my Harley donor sunroof that might get rebuilt at some point. Some A-pillar interior trim bits that we're going to leave off until we decide if we're going to do the glass front windshield. But for now, just a quickie storage of that box here. And now we can take a look and see some of the wires that were repaired back in here. This is the washer hose that's just kind of dangling in here. I think it's supposed to be clipped and taped out of the way, but anyways, we will start by popping off the connector for the PCM just so we can get a little more slack in this harness, and then we can grab my notes that I made from the other day, and we'll take a look and see what we want to start testing. So we're going to start by taking off the 10 mil on the ECM or PCM connector here. Always recommend doing these by hand, especially during installation, because you never know when you might bend a pin if you didn't quite have it completely lined up correctly. I think we're just about there. Yeah. All right, so you can see the wires that are in here. Now, I started by looking for similarities in color, and did not have any overlapping similar colors here, so there's still a possibility we have something crossed in this bundle. So I do also want to take a quick peek down in the connector, make sure I don't have any bent pins there. Speaking of bent pins, from what I can see through the camera, it looks okay, but I'm going to get in there and take a closer look at that. So from what I can see on camera, that looked like that was okay, but I'll jump in there and take a little bit closer look at it with my own eyes, and then we'll get started on testing some wires here. All right, so here's the method to the madness here. I did pick up a wiring diagram book as well as a service manual on eBay. I guess I need to add those to my cost list here, but I am going to be keeping detailed cost list of parts that I invested in this truck. I'm not really going to keep track of labor because I'm not really paying myself for that, but anyways, I have notes here on what connectors are all involved. So my two codes that I have are a P0750 shift solenoid A and a P0705, which is a transmission range sensor A. So I pulled the diagrams, and I think that this particular wire, which is the orange with the yellow, is one for my code, and then also maybe possibly the yellow and the black. So we're going to jump into the PCM side of C175, and we can start doing some resistance tests from there. So I'm going to jump into the back of the wiring diagram book. We'll look at C175 and see where those specific pins are going to be living at. Okay, so the first pin we're going to be looking at is going to be C175, pin number 6, orange with yellow. So we've got our picture of our diagram here. We can confirm that that is shift solenoid A, orange with yellow. And then we can count over from the end as it'd be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And we can get a game plan of what that looks like. Now, it should also be labeled on the connector, but in case it isn't, we're going to look for the orange and yellow that's going to be in one of the corners as our identifier for number 1. Now the connector itself has the shrouded cover on it, so we might want to grab a pocket screwdriver and pop that off real quick just to make our lives a little bit easier. But if we have connectors numbered, it doesn't really look like we do. That's just part numbers. So we're going to pop off that cover real quick and jump right back into it. So we talked about the orange with yellow on the number 1 corner. Now I did look, this is actually going to be the PCM facing side, so the harness wire is going to go away from this corner. So we'll take a look at what that looks like on the truck. So this, with our cover removed, down here is labeled as number 1. See if I can get that to focus. There we go. So 6 over will be this guy here, and we can test and see if that guy is affected. Now in this case we can also look for, see if we even have a wiring repair on this wire at all, because if he didn't touch this wire then we might not have anything going on with it, but I have a feeling we're going to find the problem with this guy right here. Alright, so I went ahead and added a flag here, just some masking tape just to make that a little bit easier to see. And we do in fact have a wiring repair on that wire, on this guy right here. Eyeballing it, it does look like it is the correct color, but we're going to do some quick tests to make sure that it actually is the correct wire, because there's a chance that these are crossed somehow. Now the downfall to wiring colors in general is that they can fade over time, especially with heat cycles and engine bay connectors. So there's a possibility that this wire looks like it's orange with a yellow stripe, but it may actually be a different color wire. So like I said, we'll do some wiring tests and see what we can come up with. Alright, so while I'm talking about colors fading, I went ahead and looked at number 34, which is kind of on that second row in the middle from where we were just at. And we are looking for a yellow with a black stripe, black tracer. And as you can see, this is our yellow wire with a black tracer. Now it, to me, looks like a white wire. Eyeballing it, it looks more tannish white to me. Now I did also notice just now that the color tracer stripe is quite a bit wider on this one, on the harness side, than on the ECM side. So there's a very good chance we just found our problem here. because yes, these colors match up, but if the wire itself wasn't connected to that point, then that might be our problem. So we know this guy is going to be a problem, and now it's just a matter of figuring out what other one got connected in the wrong spot. I did not really do a very thorough investigation of the stripe width on my other wire, but now that I'm seeing that, I definitely want to take a look at that. So this looks like a that one looks about the same. But this side might be a little bit more brownish color to it. It's hard to tell. Like I said, it's real easy to get these things crisscrossed because they just are slightly colored. They're not as easily colored as when they were new. So we know we got a problem up here. This was the wire that I was actually thinking we were gonna, one of the two wires. This is the possible problem here. And then, like I said, there's a good chance that this one, this one is crisscrossed as well. So we'll jump into it, see what we can find. All right, so here's where I'm going to try to be a little bit clever in my diagnosis. So the correct way to check this would be going to the range sensor and checking resistance end to end. But I kind of already know that, and also the underside of this truck is a mess with the transmission leak. So I'd like to find out if I could do some testing on the top side of the engine bay where I can stay a little cleaner for today. And we can validate the wiring before we start fixing the transmission repair side of it. So what I did here is looked down the length of all my connectors here, and I'm looking for anything that is yellow, might be a close color to black. So I have a yellow with a red that's on a knock sensor. And then over here on my other oxygen sensor side, I have a yellow with a light blue. Probably not. I have a white with the black. Now that's a pretty good chance the white with the black got crossed with a yellow with a, what do we decide? Yellow with a black. So the next thing I want to do is look at my connector 95, pin number 95, and let's take a look and see if that wire's had a repair on it as well. All right, so this is 92, and we're looking for 95, so we're going to go over 4, and looky there, we have a white wire with a black tracer on it, and wouldn't you know, it looks like the tracer is a little bit thicker on the connector side, and the tracer is a little bit thinner on the harness side. So we're going to get these two reversed and see how she does. All right, so not to toot my own little clever horn here, but I'm going to be even more lazy on my repairs here. So I looked at my transmission diagram here, and all of my connectors on my range sensor are 18 gauge wire. So you see there's a label 18, and then it has the color with it. Well, that is a bummer. I was hoping I was going to get to be even lazier here. So my yellow with my black is a 20 gauge wire, and my white with black is a 18 gauge wire. So they are going to be slightly different load carrying capabilities. So I will need to actually swap actually cut and break the connection repair and then reconnect them where they go. I was thinking I was going to be lucky and just depin the connector and swap them over, but since they are different gauge ratings here, then we are going to have to be doing it the right way, and we'll cut open his splice repairs here and get this thing squared away. So if you have stayed this far in the video, first of all, thank you. Second of all, I would like to have a little bit of fun with the guy I bought the truck from. So just leave me a comment in the video. Just call it, do something like the word stripes or something like that if you want to poke a little fun at him. We don't want to be too mean and call him an idiot or something, you know, honest mistake. I've seen it before. So, yeah, let's leave him a fun little comment in our video here, and we'll get back to the work. All right, so I got one side cut open and flipped over, or pulled apart here. Side by side here, we can see the thickness of our stripes is quite a bit different. And we will finish getting this other side ripped apart. I've got it mostly ripped apart here, but we will finish getting that apart. All right, and I will have to show you on the diagram, but I did find another wire that was crisscrossed here. This is the light blue with yellow wire here. I did have to add a little bit of length to it because it wasn't quite long enough. And then this guy over here, these two got flip-flopped for whatever reason. They are both yellow with light blue with a yellow tracer on them. One of them goes to the transmission range sensor. The other one is a ground for the computer, for the PCM. So now we got this harness back together. We're going to do a temporary install. We're going to plug this guy back into our ECM or PCM on the bulkhead here, and then we'll reconnect this guy as well, and we'll do a test and see if the codes are all gone at this point, or if we still have another circuit we need to dive into. All right, let's see how we did here. Coolio. No current codes. I would start it, but I kind of have the jump box on it right now, so I don't really want to start without a real battery in here. But the radio is sounding pretty good. Now we got the back glass fixed on it too. Anyways. Alright, I tossed the battery back in it, and check engine light is off. The truck should know if we're in gear now. So we're good on that. And we'll double check our codes here, but yeah, good on codes. So we still got lots to do on the truck, but that's a big improvement. Okay, well, I ran codes one more time, and I do actually have codes in it, so we'll continue along the process. It looks like I still have the shift solenoid A, but it looks like the range sensor has been fixed. So we got a little bit more digging to do here, and we'll go from there. All right, so here is 33 on that connector, which should be our transmission solenoid, and we should be going to pin number 6 on this connector, which should be our transmission solenoid, and you can see we have no resistance, or infinite resistance, I guess I should say, to be more accurate here. This is the orange with a yellow stripe. We also have next door to it, in pin number 1, orange with a yellow stripe. That supposedly goes to ignition coil number 6, but alright, on pin number 1, and as you can see right away, we have very, very low resistance, so that is the correct or currently connected wire in the wrong location. So we will break both of these orange and yellow stripes and flip them around, and then we'll do another test fire on the truck. Alright, I am feeling pretty good about this. So got the red wire with the yellow or orange wire. Stop. Alright, I am feeling pretty good about this next attempt here. I got that red wire with the yellow tracer. Actually, I think it was orange wire with the yellow tracer. I got that flipped around and removed the coil and the shift solenoid, so we should be able to clear all the codes now. We might still have that DPFE code. Oh, come on, girl. Oh, okay. All right, calm down. All right, check engine light is off at the moment, so we're starting off to a good spot there. Truck feels like it's running a little smoother too. Now we got all 8 coils firing. So currently have no codes. At least it says it has no codes. All right, so we still have the DPFE code, which is not end of the world. That's a fairly common code in general, but we can double check the wiring on that. And so far so good. Cycle a key one more time here. We'll read codes one more time. Check engine light is now on. Just the DPFE. So that's the only code. We're making really good progress now. So we can double check the wiring on that before we bundle up that harness completely. But I'm feeling much happier with where we're at with this thing. So definitely a long day out in the sun. I did take a break in the afternoon for a little while, but pleased with today's results. I am very happy we made some serious progress on this thing. So we got multiple codes addressed and wiring situations figured out. So we can wrap up for the night out here. We'll jump into the DPFE at another time as needed. But for now, I appreciate you checking out another video of mine, and I will catch you in the next one. All right, now that we got the harness repaired, we can go ahead and wrap this thing back up. So I'm going to use some, this is some Mercedes anti-rattle felt tape, which is actually high quality stuff. So we'll wrap up the harness and kind of clean that up a little bit, and we should be on the back end of getting this thing back together. Yeah, we're looking pretty good now. So we'll get this tucked back into our ECM connector or PCM connector, whatever you want to call that dude here. And we'll get that. Actually, I need to add the little 90-degree corner on it first. But we're basically ready to go reinstall, and I guess I'll pull my little masking tape flags off now that we're done with that too. But happy with the tape job there. Give me just a second, we'll get this buttoned up here.